Well, good evening and welcome to the Island Stats Football Show. I'm your host, Earl Basing. Joining us is co-host Maceo Dill, and we do have Garrett Punchy Dill just about to log on to join us this evening. At the bottom of the hour, we will be joined by the head coach, player coach of Robin Hood in Mr. Dante Lavrock. But Maceo, with the first weekend of the season, we saw a total of 32 goals scored. Of course, last night was the first game of the season, and that was Dandytown defeating Devonshire Cougars 1-0. And then, of course, today, let's actually welcome in Punchy. Good evening, Punchy.
Good evening.
How are you? Okay.
I'm good. I'm sorry, a little bit late. I just
no problem. No problem at all, brother. So last night was the 1-0, and then today in Premier Division action, we had North Village Rams defeating St. George's Colts 3-1. PHC Zebras defeating Robin Hood 5-0. Crossroads got by Southampton Rangers 2-0, and Devonshire Colts lost 4-0 to Somerset Trojans. In the first division, Young Men's Social Club went down 2-0 to Wolves. Island Rangers defeated Paget Lions 5-1. BAA edged St. David's 1-0, and Hamilton Parish defeated Vasco 6-1. Both divisions had a total of 16 goals scored for 32 for the weekend. Not too bad for the first weekend of the season. Maceo, any results stand out for you?
I mean, first I'd just like to say I'm happy to have football back and happy to be talking about it, man. I was sitting at PAT today with Miss Ashwood. I don't know how her name slipped my mind, but a proper football fan. She's Steve Ashwood's sister. Proper football fan. I'm just happy to be back in the vicinity of football and having conversations and watching football come. So as the results thing, I mean, PHC started off purring from the very, very start, man. That 5-0 over Robin Hood, from the very, very start. As you know, I'm including PHC sworn as to the, what I'm predicting that they will do this season, and it showed immediately. Immediately that result, showed, and they sent their immediate message. So that result definitely stands out.
What about you, Punchy? Any results stand out for you?
Yeah, that I always thought that message with PHC, because you've heard so much talk about what they're like, what PHC is doing up there, what they're trying to achieve up there. So I just figured that what Robin Hood is going through, I think Dawn Barry Newsom's not there no more. Am I correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So, but I think PHC is giving us a yardstick to work by now, which a small community like us that we have, that you heard it talk. So, but the other night, on Saturday night, Maceo, we went to the game, Cougars and Dandytown. I thought it was a fair result. I thought that what I saw, there's improvement to be done with Dandytown, of course, and of course with the players not being out physically. Most of the time, it just looked physically that they cannot compete for a full 90 minutes in terms of really giving the production rate at 90 minutes. Today was also a perfect example down the field today with North Village and St. George's. Very good game, very good organized, constructive game. I was very impressed with what I've seen. I was very impressed with St. George's also, what they're trying to achieve there. The structure of the football was good. And in the second half, the beginning of the second half, St. George had pinned North Village in for 30 minutes. And if they had a good striker, a finisher, they probably could have won that game today. They probably could have won that game today. What I was most impressed about, again, with both teams is that the structure, the organization. Very impressive. I was, very impressive. And, I wish I'm great for St. George's. But I had some interviews with the assistant coaches working with North Village. Kenny's in charge. and with my son, Domingo Jennings and Devry. And they're very, you could see that what was told by them is that Norfolk is going back to the roots, introducing young footballers, young 16-year-old guys that are going to come and give them a chance. And as long as they are up to that, reaching the standard, and it's going to take time. But again, it's just great for the game to be back, people be talking, and it was great on it today. It was really good on it today.
Yeah. Macy, because Bob, we both had a look at the PHC Robin Hood match with Dante coming on at the bottom of the hour. But if you look at what Robin Hood was able to put out today, and they have quite a few youngsters in that lineup. Once they get up to speed, do you think they can or do you think they will upset some teams?
I actually think Robin Hood's in big trouble. They're in big trouble. I mean, I watched their bench today. They had three people on the bench. The players that they're not recognized, they're not tested. Whereas you look at PHCs, and then you're going to be asking Dante to be player coach. I've never really seen a player coach situation work out for the best throughout my history in football. I can remember Ruud Gullit being player coach at Chelsea and Newcastle. They just never seen these things work out. I can remember Andrew Bascom being player coach. I've just never seen the player coach situation work out for the best. For the best, that's a complicated situation to be in, and that's a big ask for Dante to do with his first coaching job. So I see Robin Hood being in a lot of trouble. I see him being in a lot of trouble. And that 5-0 could have been 8.
Just looking at the scoreline of Devon Coates and Somerset, Somerset scoring 4 at Police Field. With that big introduction of players at Jomar's disposal, looks like he's got things running on all cylinders.
Well, it's bought itself another week.
No, his brought itself 3 weeks. They won 4-0.
It's bought itself 3. Let me be fair. Yeah, it's bought itself another 3 weeks. So that's good for him. Coach need to be careful as well. Right? Coach need to be careful for sure.
They always seem to find a way. They tend to figure out things as they go along. I know Ray has always got a little trick here and there up his sleeve, and he'll be looking at early in the season. He'll be looking at the teams that he feels he can beat. He's probably thinking he could beat them all, but the real task at hand is trying to make sure he beats the teams that he feels his team could beat, and that will kind of keep him up. But remember, there's 3 teams going down.
Yeah. Well, Ray has a champion mentality without being a champion. So he has that swagger of a champion, but he's not been a champion, and until you become a champion, then you know the steps to it. You know step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Ray is trying to start off at step 10. You can't start off at step 10. He's got to come back to step 1 if he wants to be a champion.
He's one of you.
Yeah. But really speaking, I always knew when Jomar Wilson, and I give him his praise, I give him his due, that if he's going to go to Somerset with what they're trying to achieve up in Somerset, I mean, they've been doing this for the last 3 or 4 years now. Don't forget Mr. Seymour, the young coach that was in charge of it. He has the backing of Larry Smith. He's got, it's called consultation in terms of that. So Jomar comes in, he takes over. He's going to fix it. Or he'll fix it. His organization skills will fix that. And wherever he's been, he's done it. I didn't expect no different. So what we're looking at in this country here now is like, let's say for instance, we're looking at PHC, well, the revival of some cricket club. North Village is still questionable. Trust me on that. And they were talking about PHC. And so are we talking about 3 teams? And then we're looking at Cougars and Dennytown. I think what I saw on Saturday night with Dennytown, Aaron Jenkins going to find his way. I thought Danny John just hung there. They did a lot of simple things. They did a lot of right things. Cougars were really bad from the halfway line to the 18-yard box. So that was really just like, whoa, you know. They should have really won that game. They should have won that game prior to easy. Yeah. But the point that I'm saying is that you're looking at the five again in this country. You're looking at maybe 5 teams with North, and then I still think that thumbs up. What the number one I'm looking at is the yardstick is PHC. And so the results will speak for itself. And with Maceo went to the game today, I just think that what I've seen of the ones that are going to set the pace for this country are going to be Somerset. It's going to be Norfolk. It's going to be in the thick of it. It's going to be definitely Cougars. I think Cougars will do better, even though they Cougars and Denny Ton. And then it's going to be PhD. Yeah.
If you look at last night, early in the game, I think Denny Town were playing a lot higher, and the balls over the top was beating their defense with Elijah and D'Amico, Cuddington. But also to that extent, Lejon Simmons, they were getting around the defense because they were playing so high. It was just poor finishing on those guys' behalf that actually allowed Denton to stay in the game and eventually win the game.
Well, that was when I looked at the game, yes, Cougars were dissecting Denton at ease in that first half. And, Denton's defending has always been suspect. That their defending has to do with their ability to attack. I don't think they're ever been that great at defending. They're been greater at attacking that doesn't expose their defending. So the defending was a bit exposed last night, and poor finishing on Cougars' behalf. And as the game goes, you don't take your chances. You go down there, Sequoia Robinson, he has enough experience. He put a ball in a good area and it's 1-0. So generally, if that game last night, it was like players were like, okay, we're playing football again. Okay, we've been out of football for 11 months, and the game was a little bit disappointing for me. The game was a little bit disorganized, but I think they will fix that. They were starting to fix that piece. Cougars disappointed me yesterday. They did, because I had high expectations for them. So that match last night was disappointing for me.
What I noticed right away was some players were trying to save themselves to last 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And cheating their team kind of thing. You know what I mean? I know that a lot of teams haven't had a lot of time together and they haven't done a lot. But when you have the 5 subs, you almost got to encourage guys, give me everything you got. Give me everything you got. If at the end of it I need to take you off, remember it's a team effort. And I just think some guys were doing just enough to stay on the field, but letting their team down.
And that's what Danny Town's substitutions done well. I watched how they used their substitutions. Each time they used their substitutions, they added to what was going on the field to help Jesse get close to the line. So you can see they was managing the fitness of the players and where they are, and they used their substitutions really, really well.
Yeah. How did that play out at Bernard Park, Punchy, with North Village and St. George's? Because obviously conditions are going to play a part in it. First competitive game. Practice matches are one thing, but when the whistle really blows, it's totally different.
What I was impressed with St. George's, speaking of St. George's, the organization, the way they came out, where they attempt to play, because even in Norfolk has been up 2-0. I thought it was the first goal was well taken by Mr. Smith. The second goal was a cross came to the box. Mr. Anderson, the center half, put it over Mr. Hall's head. It's a fair mistake. But in terms of what St. George's came in the second half, there was a vast improvement in what they done. The coaches changed around what they did. They made some some decisions. And I thought St. George's was really had Norfolk on the back foot for like 20, 30 minutes. If they could just do the finishing part, which I said to them, I said to the coaching staff, I think you still have a problem in the 18-yard box. You're providing you want to play the constructive football. They look really organized. They look constructive. They came on the back route. But there's still something missing once the ball gets up on the 18-yard box. Who's going to score the goals for you guys? And so that will be St. George's dilemma. I think they're heading in the right direction. Very impressive. A good, very organized team. I still think that are they going to win anything? They're challenged, but they're probably my thing for St. George's just stay focused, stay steady, try to get them this year. Make sure you remain up in the top third, in the top league. And with no finish, that's still with the coaching staff now. They've hired, of course, with Penny working on with Devray and my son Jamaica. It seemed like a pretty good fit. In the second half, the 30 minutes in the second half, St. George had all the pressure. They stayed organized. They stayed. You could see that Norfolk, even with the players that they have, there's still a distinctive organization, Kenneth organization, which I was happy to see. So again, I just think that we're still talking about two teams, Norfolk and St. George's. Are they going to win anything? I'm looking at third place or fourth place for Norfolk, St. George's, maybe about fifth or sixth. But survival for survival is what St. George's are looking at.
Right.
That's it.
We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll have more of the Island Stats Football Show. We'll be right back.
John Barrett & Son, Bermuda's leading distributor of fine beverages, have brought us something fresh and exciting this month. Mystic Juices, skillfully blended for captivating flavor and loaded with nutritional value. Mystic Juices not only taste remarkably good, one serving will supply an abundance of vitamins A and C, more than a certified measure needed to meet your daily requirements. This month we're featuring delicious and nutritious Mystic Juices in an enticing range of flavors in 64 and 16-ounce bottles. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
My inspiration to write this book has to do with empowering. I want people to understand what it looks like when you are in a position when you don't have the tools around you. If you know me or don't know me, the game, the beautiful game of football, soccer, is and always was a way out. I'm still fearful on what to do, what would happen if I say something.
What can we do in this book to incorporate tools to help specifically our group of young people in Bermuda?
Could you imagine doing a read with little people and breaking everything down for them and having them to have a voice and having conversation pieces, if it's chapter by chapter?
And welcome back. Not to leave them out, but let's jump right into that first division. Some of those results. Obviously, Hamilton Parish is making a statement for themselves. They jumped out to a 6-1 victory over Vasco, and then of course Island Rangers defeating Paget 5-1. Wolves. You guys were talking, about organization. They managed to scrape through and defeat Social Club 2-0. And then obviously BAA making a return, both Patrick and BAA making a return to the league. BAA edged St. David's 1-0. And let's just talk a little bit about that BAA team, because obviously now being led by Andrew, who can actually master his way through organizing a team structurally to do something that he wants them to do, and they're young enough to follow those guidelines. And I think that's going to be BAA's year, especially this year, because they have such a young team.
Oh, I mean, I know the players that I know Andrew from working with him, and know the players that he has at his disposal. He will be happy because all these players he's actually raised. He's raised at his time at Zolters. So while they're not been the brand name players that everybody likes to equate to, he has raised them, and what he would do with them, they're going to be organized, as you see by a 1-0 result. So they don't have the standout flashy player, but that organization that they can bring out a 1-0 result. So St. David's was probably a good starting match for them. It will be a good starting match for them, and you know what you're going to get. You can get organization, and they're going to buy into Andrew's way of doing things because, like I said, they will be all they're he's raised 90% of his players from their conception and their introduction to football.
Yeah.
And a player that stands out is Jonas Schroeder. Jonas Schroeder, you used to once have him down there for the event over there. I call him the Viking. He's a Swedish Viking, a big, strong kid, organized kid. Has put a lot of time into football.
Punching, knowing someone like Andrew and what he's capable of doing, even with half a team. What do you anticipate seeing for the rest of the year from a team like BAA?
Yeah, adding to what Maceo said about Andrew's very good at organization, very good at that. He can have maybe 40% of 40% of his players are probably technically sound or technically good. The other 60 is going to make sure that there's an organized team. And they're playing in a division against Wolves, they like the Wolves, Social Club, Vasco, which I put today, which so even Hamilton Parish, the interesting is when he plays against his
Sergio.
With Sergio. It's gonna be very interesting. Because I saw Hamilton Parish, but they had a real cool day today. Vasco needs a lot of work. But getting back to Andrew, let's say so he will be organized. He'll get the results that he wants to achieve, and he knows. But then what would happen is if he gets promoted, where's he going to get the other players from? What would happen after that? Because don't forget, this country is still community-based. Getting back to that now, community-based player. You see a lot of players now are going to go back to the original, they're going back to Norfolk, so coming back, they're going back to Cougars, they're going back to PHC. So that will be Andrew's challenge after he achieves what he did this year, rebuilding the PA's program. But again, I wish him the best. I mean, very good. The only team I see that will probably be giving this trouble, like let's say the result that Wolves achieved, and we keep picking on Wolves. I'm sorry about that. That will probably be his dilemma when he plays against teams like Wolves. But technically, those guys are raw. That's raw talent at Wolves. Right. So Andrew will have a problem with that. If he's going to beat Wolves, he's going to be very organized. He's going to be he knows what he's going to do on that day. So with Drew, again, getting back to Andrew, you're going to see the results. And like Maceo was saying, you're going to see the 1-0, you're going to see maybe 0-0. And it's all charted. He knows what he wants to do. In every single game that he plays, Andrew will help playing for that.
Yeah. Now, as we talked prior to the season starting, there was, obviously Social Club and Hamilton Parish were considered title contenders. While Wolves made a statement today, organized or disorganized, they made a statement today. As remember, Social Club were on a march. As at December 5th last year, they were hot on the heels of Hamilton Parish, looking and hoping for promotion. But here's Wolves today defeating them 2-0.
Yeah. Wolves has made a statement. That league is going to get super competitive, actually. With the likes of Wolves. Andrew's going to shake that league up a little bit. He's going to have unknown players in there that's going to be organized. So it's going to be very difficult to beat. It doesn't surprise me Wolves were able to beat Social Club because at the end of the day, they would have more talent than Social Club, and that their talent would have more experience than Social Club's talent. So that doesn't surprise me as well as it doesn't surprise me that Hamilton Parish drives Vasco, because although you get two organized coaches, Hamilton Parish is just going to have more quality players. Their players are going to be more quality. So when you get two teams that have organized. Now it comes down to the quality of the players, and Hamilton Parish has got quality. And it's just going to be interesting because you got some very good coaching minds in that division, like in Sergio, Andrew, Gary Adams. You got very good coaching minds in that division.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Gary wasn't with the team today. He was traveling back to the island, so I'm pretty sure.
Difference. That explains something. That explains something that he wasn't there because he was traveling back. So that explains that 6-0.
Another thing, we talked about Hamilton Parish running away with it last year. We talked about adversity. What happens when things are not going to go right on those days? Because even in professional sports, you have a team running away with everything, and then all of a sudden they hit a wall where today is not your day. It's how we think that team and the leaders of the team kind of regroup.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah.
Sure. I mean, Hamilton Parish is the community team, man. Now that they got that first team, that community is gonna get behind them, and then they become a momentum team too. They become a momentum team. I think their only challenge is going to be BA and Andrew, because Sergio's going to have a bit of his back for Andrew, and he's gonna create up a situation where he's going to be thinking about how to pull this off. So that's how I still see Hamilton Parish as being a dominant team in this division.
What are your thoughts?
I'm going to narrow this down a little bit in that division. I'm going to narrow this down. I'm going to be very, very frank about this.
Okay.
The tunes I said it wasn't a surprise that, to me, about Wolves being so close. It wasn't no surprise. I figured, because Social Club is built on a little bit of structure, but they don't have very good. They have maybe 2 or 3 good players. The rest of them are good. They hustle and stuff. They hustle, but in terms of tactical ability, Wolves are here's the shoulders of both Social Club players. I'm gonna be very frank with that. Now, what we're gonna have now is the Wolves against organized Andrew, or Wolves against organized Hamilton Parish. Yeah. Now that with tactical players but organization, which is going to be very interesting, because I want to go see those games. So you're gonna have Sergio against the Wolves. Even if they don't have the good coaching system, but they got some good tactical players. So it's amazing about that result. A BAA with Andrew, that's gonna be another good contest. So we do have this, it is gonna be interesting in this year in that league. Very much so.
Yeah, looking forward to it, because again, 2 teams are coming up. We've only had 1 round, but some of the results are making it very interesting how things will be. We'll look at again how things will be around Christmas time, because obviously there's going to be a lot of football played in a short period of time. Teams are going to have to get up to speed rather quickly, because what you don't want to do is fall behind early, and you're trying to play that catch-up game to anyone. So the teams that kind of got off to a good start this weekend will be looking to continue that momentum next weekend. And then obviously the teams that struggled this weekend with not getting the results, they're going to want to get themselves started, because of the mere fact that you don't want to fall 6 points behind this early in the season. I don't care if it's week 2.
Well, that could leads back to, if we jump back over into PHC 5-0 victory. PHC was able to bring Antoine Ross off the bench, Trey Ning off the bench, Keishan Bean off the bench, Jack Castle, it's not named Jack, but Jack Castle's son off the bench. Casey Castle. When you can bring that amount of quality and that amount of experience off the bench, and I mean, for me, a criticism, if I'm criticizing PHC for their performance today, the first 2 goals came from penalties, and they missed a whole lot of chances in the beginning of the match. And they seemed like they was taking a bit too long to get the ball in the last third, because Robin Hood wasn't really offering anything. But once they got going, they move with arrogance, they move with confidence. around it. You can see that they sense they're onto something here. So again, PhD when you look at getting on the blocks and catching up, and you look at Cougars who lost their first game, they don't have the fitness to catch up from behind. I watched them last night. They don't have fitness. They've got a lot there. Like I'm almost ready to take back my words on Cougars because they got a little bit. They disappointed me last night. They did, and Danny Tom, they're gonna have to find their way a bit. I haven't put my eyes on North Village, but I know Kenny Valley enough to know that there's going to be some type of organization piece there.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to take another commercial break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by Dante Levra, player coach for Robin Hood. We'll be right back.
The use of butter goes back millennia, and its exalted status in the cooking world and in so many kitchens is undeniable. Around 3,000 years ago, ghee, or clarified butter, was developed in India and is the cooking oil of choice in many regions of the subcontinent, and compared to butter has a higher smoke point, reduced dairy solids, and a more robust, nuanced flavor. And to Organic Valley, creators of a certified organic version of this versatile traditional staple. This month we're featuring Organic Valley Ghee Clarified Butter. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
My inspiration to write this book has to do with empowering. I want people to understand what it looks like when you are in a position when you don't have the tools around you. If you know me or don't know me, the beautiful game of football, soccer, is and always was a way out. Still fearful on what to do, what would happen if I say something.
What can we do in this book to incorporate tools to help specifically our group of young people in Bermuda?
Could you imagine doing a read with little people and breaking everything down for them and having them to have a voice and having conversation pieces, if it's chapter by chapter?
And welcome back. Well, Dante, first of all, congratulations on your new post. Baptism of fire.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
Yeah. Obviously, you've been saying for a long time you're coming to the end of your career. And now you want to get into the coaching aspects of it all. But player coach in the Premier Division, how do you envision that happening? Only because it's a tall order trying to play, lead, make decisions, all sorts of things on the field can really become overwhelming at times.
Preparation. Unfortunately, I've only had the boys for 2 weeks. No friendly matches, but no excuses. But you must prepare as best as you can before the game. You write down scenarios that I have. I had subs, already written out if we were up, if we were winning or losing. Of course, it's tough, but I've been around the world. I've played over 100 professional games. I think it's time that I transition into coaching. And again, as I have already said, I plan to push this as far as I can. As I was a professional player, I plan to be a professional coach as well. This is a stepping stone for me, and I made that very, very clear.
Mm-hmm. You guys want to jump in?
Sure.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mace. Go ahead.
Quite frankly, I made the analogy of Ruud Gullit, player coach at Chelsea, and Ruud Gullit was a player coach at Chelsea, and when I look at the history of player coach, there's not a lot of success stories. There's not a lot of success stories as player coach. You jumped in at the deep end, with the accidents of players that you're here at Robin Hood, and judging by that result today, that was a heavy defeat. Where do you go here to now? Do you decide that you're going to transition into coaching? wholeheartedly, or are you looking to continue in that role of player coach throughout the season? Because as we know, your first job, as you see Ronda, you want to get your first job, right.
Yeah, I mean, understandably, you're talking about Rude Hullet, but I'm not Rude Hullet. I'm Dante Lavrock. I wasn't meant to be a pro, and I will engage in as best I can with my team. It's the same thing. All footballers at the end of the day, you guys on the show always talk about structure. And with Robin Hood, with the basically 6 or 7 under 17s that are coming through, I plan to create structure, not only just for Robin Hood, but so these guys can get away, whether it's to college, prep school, or whatever. I envision bigger things than just winning a football match on Sunday. However, my job is to win football matches. So again, preparation. You have an amateur system here in Bermuda where a player trains twice a week, which is not enough. So we'll, again, with a young group, with an older group, it's tough. People have jobs, they have families, so be it. But now with a young group, these guys are hungry, and so we can get, gym sessions, we can get prehab sessions, we can work, with physios to do testing, just to emulate or show these guys what it's like to be in a semi-pro / pro environment. So creating a structure, as you guys talk about, to benefit these guys going forward. We all started at 16, 17. We all young players once. You understand? So giving these guys the tools, and you have senior players around with Jaylon and Liam. You have guys who work hard. Liam's a personal trainer, so you're also using your resources around you. Getting these guys physically and ready, and then obviously the technical and tactical stuff has to be worked on quickly because these seasons are already starting.
Punch?
Yeah. Good evening, Mr. Block. Listen, I'm glad I'm having a chance to speak with you because I've been through that journey. I'll tell you, my coaching, when I first got my coaching license, I was coaching North Village, and I took some time off, and then I was thrust into the position of coaches in Davis. So I was also a player coach, and what I learned quite a bit about that. It's a very difficult task, especially in the amateur country. You're absolutely right. And I know you've been associated with where you played all over the world. And so I do wish you the best. But my thing is, what are you trying? What happens in the fact that if this doesn't work out for you for your first year, what are you trying to achieve there now? Because I had a problem in terms of longevity with St. Davis in terms of, okay, this is what we're going to do to achieve in 4 years. But I felt I had a bit back in. Maybe you do have that in terms of what you're looking for in the next 4 years. So in this, what I'm saying is, to what happens if the scenario doesn't look good for you come to the end of the season? What are you going to do? What is your plan?
You mean with the team in terms of?
Yeah,
if you look at, you must be realistic. I was also a player. You must be realistic and say you must survive first. And I think with any team, even in my professional journey, your basis is always to survive, because anything can happen. And then you work, your second basis will be mid-table, and then it will be Europe, and then it will be to win the league. You must always create the materials of systems in a pro team environment. So complacency, you say you must win the league, unless you have a team that has been together for years and you have that winner's mentality. All of my coaches, provided that basis for the team. It's just like a pyramid system. You work on to build with that. And again, I'm very realistic. We set up in my two favorite coaches are Conte and Tuchel. So we set up in the 3-5-2, which has, been very successful abroad. We frustrated them. We were never going to play. That wasn't, the plan. To hit them on the counter attack, hit the ball into the channels, and frustrate them. Bermudians, as players, to hold possession, we get very frustrated, and then we start to make mistakes, jam balls into, and then you win the ball. But again, young team, and again, it is tough. When you're on the field, you also have to control your emotions as a player, because you're also the coach. So, I think this will severely help me with my coaching development. As I said before, I plan to push this as far as possible. I want to get a pro license, which may seem impossible, but that's what I'm pushing for.
Quick question as far as the young team, and I know everybody wants to get a good start, and you handed a lot of youngsters opportunities today, especially goalkeeper. And I noted that Timmy was on the side, and although Timmy is I wouldn't say old now, utilizing him just for the experience to get you through a little patch. No thought of that. You just want the youngsters to learn on the go.
100%. You know, when I was 16, I was given a chance. I will give them a chance. The only way they develop is they play. How many months in a year do you play football in this country? Twice a week, and then you ask about your national team, and then you want us to compete, and then you say have a 6-week training camp when professionals train. Haiti's national team is full professional train 10 months out of a year. What is 6 weeks? That's a preseason. So I want to give these youngsters as much football as possible. So again, yes is Robin Hood. Yes, you know, I want to win matches, but my scope of thinking has always been bigger. I am Bermuda pro Bermuda first. Yes, so you know, that's just my thought process on that. I will play a young player. They deserve a chance. You have an under 17 league that has 5 teams. You understand that is not, you're losing players at 16. They are going to do other things. Yes, so a social aspect as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to you with the young player piece, because I mean, if I had my way, the Premier League will be on the 25 league right now, and everybody else will go play Masters, so that we develop those players and give them opportunity. So kudos to you in the concept of the young players. The question is, question I have for you. I mean, you spoke already about your desire to be pro license, and I don't think that's far fetched. I think definitely, you know, do course you'll find your way there. But how do you balance what you understand professionally with where we are in this country and our amateur behavior? How do you create that balance and build that bridge between what you understand professionally versus our amateur behavior? Because we know the emotions, our players can lose focus really quickly if the results are not there.
I mean, I must empower them to be leaders within themselves. You know, if you go to a youth game, and I'm sure you guys do, and you hear, you know, whether it's the parents or the coaches, you know, I call it joystick, and you're telling players what to do and when to do it, not allowing them to be free and express themselves. But again, structure, you know, creating a structure. Again, you know, you have 2 football sessions, and we have now integrated a gym session. We do player testing every couple of weeks. You'll be surprised when you give players tools, even in terms of, you know, from new jerseys to track suits to, you know, the stat sports vests, where, you know, the integrating technology into your team, amateur or not, you know, whether you have the fund for that or not. You'll be very surprised how players start to take things more seriously. Football's about small little details. But again, you know, I find myself having to teach players certain things, you know, passing the ball on the right side of a player, you're just happy that the ball's received to his feet, but you pass on the same side as the defender. You know, these small little things but it's a good thing that the players are young. You know, I'm not dealing with a 29-year-old where I have to teach him, which I cannot change his ways. So having that basis of a young player, they're very impressionable and they listen. And they're going to help me to develop as well, because again, Premier Division, you know, you must compete. So I think, you know, I'm definitely on the right track. And again, like you said, I want to gain my pro license. You know, I'm not going to be able to do that here. So I made it clear this is a stepping stone for me to get into the program.
Dante, I'm very happy for you. I'm very glad that you're gonna, you know, I think our country needs people like you who have been in the arena, who knows what's required. My problem is still the structure. We still talk about structure here. As I say, we keep using that word structure. Is it, let's say, for instance, a 16-year-old kid comes to you, he's playing, you watch him, he's a center midfielder. Does he have that ability to play at that level? What does he have not learned? Because I find it more and more so now, in terms of what's going on in our country, is that I'm finding there's a lot of players when they're thrust into the deep end, there's a lot of lack of. So is it a problem in the school system? Is it a problem at still at the coaching level, at the younger youth level? Because you still see that there is a lack of tactical ability with a lot
Yeah.
of young Bermuda players.
Yeah.
The very nice guys have a very good, you could tell them to run on the field, you could tell them to be organized. But do you find that there's still something lacking when you see a 16-year-old playing for you, that there's something missing that he has not learned by the time he got to 16? Are you finding there's still something missing about the way we are running
Yeah.
our football programs, sir?
100%. And I put out a tweet a couple of weeks ago and said, to ask your clubs what their, what their technical, development program is, or what their, the goals, or what is it? You look at an under-9 game and all they want to do is win, but his just lumping the ball forward. Even the parents are doing it, even the coaches are doing it. But allow them to play, as you said. You look at a Barcelona's academy. Passing, receiving, dribbling through tight spaces is, what they focus on. But we just want to win, and that comes from young. As I encourage everyone to go watch a game, and if you're comfortable with what you're seeing, from what's being said on the sidelines to on the field, then it's a problem. So it starts. I can't, as you said. I mean, a player's 16 and he hasn't learned to not just trap the ball there, but control it into space. Not allowing people think that a ball being controlled is just to trap the ball there, but that you're stopping the flow of the game. I'm having to teach my players that even from in my coaching program. Small little details of checking to a ball to then check away to receive the ball into space, or checking away to then receive the ball to your feet. Small details. Even in the national team, making a near post run is a mandatory run as an attacking player. Small little details. So you, as a country, as a coaching fraternity, you must get together and speak about these things, because it's a problem. But again, the focus is on winning. It's on winning.
Well, I'm adding to that. I'm very glad you brought that up, Mr. Lebrock, because there's flaws in terms of development. Are we speaking on the same page here? The flaws in terms of development. If somebody comes to a 16-year-old and he hasn't developed, he's not been taught this behavior, what he should be doing. So there's still flaws in our system. That's what I am alluding to. The challenges that you have. And I had those challenges at St. David's. And I was just, and when the programs first started, I'm just saying to you that, again, I'm very glad that we can have these conversations about that. So these questions can be answered and asked. They can be asked and then answered by people like yourself and like Maceo and Mr. Basin, because I think that's what the show is about, to find out what our flaws are.
I think the good thing as well is that you're having other, ex-professional players and/or players that, are studying sport that are coming back to the island. So the standard must be a higher standard now. So you, as a coach, you cannot just get away with doing this and doing that, because now you'll be challenged by me or someone else, and it will only help us all to improve. We're 160th in the world. Let's be real. We need to improve that. But even more so, we have a lot of young players that are playing abroad now. You'll see the dying breed of a local player being in the national team. That's just the facts of it. How many players do you really have abroad now, from 16, from Remy to Sincere to, these guys, so if the league doesn't improve, if the youth system doesn't improve, then there will be no local players, and then the league will die. Because what more do you really have to win Triple Crown with North Village? Okay. Well, when I went away and told them I played for Dennytown, they didn't know who that was. So you understand, it has to be a bigger picture in these guys' heads, pushing to do something, whether it's school, go get your degree, come back, work in the community, do facility manager. So now you can manage Bernard Park, that's your job, and now the fields improve. So now the footballs will improve. Now players are happy to come out and play at North Village Field. You even look at BAA. You couldn't have that field in America. You couldn't. You can't. You shouldn't be able to see the black turf. You understand? So that's what I'm very passionate about Bermuda football. So, I have thick skin. I'm played in Poland. I'm played in Estonia. I don't care what people have to say. My journey, I will continue to push. I have people that I must support. I have a newborn now, so I must continue to take risks and show him what it takes to be special, and that's what I will do.
Wait, I could just chime in. I mean, I'm 49. You remind me a bit about myself in 1996, coming back from university. And to a degree that I thought I was speaking Spanish to Bermudians. With the passion to improve, and the story I always tell in university, I was ill prepared culturally, and I learned because I had a big enough ego in university that I'm saying, okay, if somebody's doing it, that means it could be done. That means I should be able to do it. And coming back at North Village, we want to change the culture of how we do things. That's the language I've learned. It's taken me maybe 20 years now to learn that we need to make a cultural shift. And selfishly, I'll add this to the conversation. And I mean, a person like yourself, with the experience and the exposure that I got, you're a person that I prefer coaching 5-year-olds, to be honest. The reason to coaching 5-year-olds is because you give the 5-year-olds the foundation to football. Because I also know the challenge of changing cultural behaviors in a 20-year-old or 16-year-old. That's very challenging, changing the cultural behavior. Whereas you build a culture here, and you speak of Remy's, you speak of those kids like that. I'm working with those kids even today with my son at North Village. When I won the Triple Crown at North Village, the year after that, I went coach 5-year-olds because I realized that you had to build a proper foundation. And now when I see the rappers and I see those players playing at a higher level, I understand what that foundation looks like. So I'm just equipping you with that. And I know you're creating a balance with your family and your ambitions for pro license and all that, and having to coach 11-a-side football. But I'm just equipping you with that what's going to happen is that.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. But, again, I always knew that I wanted to be a coach, and whatever team that I was at, I worked in their academy. So I was working from the MAH. That was my experience that you need, even if I have a degree for a job. If I wasn't working in the field, then you have the degree, but they say you need 10 years experience. At Sligo Rovers, at Estonia, at Harrisburg City Islanders, even in Poland, I was working in the academies. Just learning, talking to you technical directors. How does this work? Different styles of football. So again, I'm a student of this game. I'm not one to just sit around and put myself into something if I'm not prepared. So I always give my 100%. This is my life. This is my life. I am a student of this game. So yeah, I appreciate that. But my coaching development has been started.
Well, Dante, I want to thank you very much for coming on. First coach for the season. Once the season has started, we want to wish you all the best because obviously, we know what a challenge you have in front of you, and hearing you tonight, you've probably convinced a lot of people that things will get better at Robin Hood under your leadership because of the mentality in which the coach has. And if the players get on board, things will quickly turn to the right way. So all the best for the remainder of the season. Okay?
All right. Thank you. Have a good one, guys.
Thank you very much.
We're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll look at the games that will take place next week in the Premier and First Division. We'll be right back.
John Barrett & Son, Bermuda's leading distributor of fine beverages, have brought us something fresh and exciting this month. Mystic Juices, skillfully blended for captivating flavor and loaded with nutritional value. Mystic Juices not only taste remarkably good, one serving will supply an abundance of vitamins A and C, more than a certified measure needed to meet your daily requirements. This month we're featuring delicious and nutritious Mystic Juices in an enticing range of flavors in 64 and 16-ounce bottles. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
My inspiration to write this book has to do with empowering. I want people to understand what it looks like when you are in a position when you don't have the tools around you. If you know me or don't know me, the game, the beautiful game of football, soccer, is and always was a way out. I'm still fearful on what to do, what would happen if I say something.
What can we do in this book to incorporate tools to help specifically our group of young people in Bermuda.
Could you imagine doing a read with little people and breaking everything down for them and having them to have a voice and having conversation pieces, if it's chapter by chapter?
And welcome back. Well, guys, we know what the results were this week. So we didn't do it last week, but we're going to get into it this week, and we're going to have our picks starting on week 2. So come next week. On Saturday, there are 3 matches. There's 1 First Division match and 2 Premier Division matches. Let's go through the Premier Division first. So up at Somerset, it is the Somerset Trojans hosting the Dandytown Hornets on a Saturday. We already know that all the restrictions with COVID, and now you're putting in on a Saturday at 3 p.m. What's your thoughts, Punchy?
I'm going with Somerset on that.
Okay.
I'm going with Somerset, yeah. I think Somerset's going to win that game. I'll go with them. 3-1.
Okay. Maceo?
Yeah, both Aaron Jenkins and his coaching staff are learning the way at this league. Jamal's already advanced in this league. He's gonna pull one over any time for sure. So I'm going with Somerset as well.
Okay.
It's gonna be a heatly contested match, but I'm going with Somerset. Jamal's gonna buy it for a few more weeks.
All right. I gotta go with the team that wears red and blue as well. Very rarely do that, but I'm gonna go with Somerset as well. Then it's at BAA Field at 9 p.m. Robin Hood will face Southampton Rangers. I'm going to go with Robin Hood for that match. Maceo?
Yeah, definitely Robin Hood. That's a good bounce back match for him. Yeah, I saw Southampton Rangers play a little bit against Paget the other day. Yeah, Robin Hood for sure.
Punch?
I'm going to go with Robin Hood on that one. I think Dante would do his homework. It's probably really sitting on and say, listen, this is the team we got to beat next week.
Yeah.
If we don't get points off anybody, we have to get points off teams like Southampton Rangers. So I'm going with Robin Hood.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about when we were talking about Ray. If you identify a team, we have to beat this particular team. We have to beat this particular team. And when you get those teams, you've got it. That's the ones you really need to put the work in on. And then St. George's on Sunday. St. George's will face Devonshire Cougars. Punchy?
I'm going to have to actually who's who?
St. George's.
That's a real testy one. I'm going to go for draw on that.
Okay.
I'm going to go on the draw. I was really impressed with St. George today to finish it. If they straighten that up, if they fix that, I think I'm going for draw on that one.
Okay. I'm gonna go for St. George's win. Base?
Yeah, I've lost faith in St. George's, man. That lopsided result against North Village, I didn't expect that with the players they kick up. They seem to be developing in their own pattern, always almost. Cougars is going to respond. The bigger field, D'Amico Carterton is able to open up defenses as he pleases. I'm going with Cougars. They're going to figure that out.
Okay. All right. Then the next game is North Village against Crossroads. North Village at home. I'll go first. I'm gonna take North Village.
Yeah.
Maceo?
North Village is going to beat Crossroads. North Village is just going to be too much of North Village for Crossroads.
Right. And Punchy?
I'm going with North Village. Definitely.
Okay. All right.
I'm going with North Village in the home. Yeah. I think North Village will beat that game.
Okay. And then the final Premier Division game next week is Somerset Eagles against PHC Zebras. Maceo?
Oh, PHC all the way. It's going to be I looked at our PHC bench, man. There's 7 guys that come on that bench that are probably not quality. And their coach made such good substitutions that continue to add to the game all the time. You know, they're not gonna take the foot off the throttle, man. They're hungry.
Right. Punch?
I'm going with PHC with that. There's a definite. That's like a no-go. Yeah, I think just the last couple of years, and well, even with the pandemic, I just seen like the same PHC's group, and we're gonna returning players. It's coming back to community team. Its structure's getting much better. Its structure is a lot better now, and so I'm going to PHC with that for sure.
Okay. Now let's look at the first division on Saturday at Wellington Oval. Wolves entertain Island Rangers. I'm going right away. I'm going to take Wolves.
Yeah, me as well. I mean, I had a quick word with Island Rangers coach today. He's a bit elated about his 5-1 victory over Paget, but Wolves is not Paget. Wolves are going to take this one.
Punch?
It's Wolves. That's Wolves. That's Wolves all over here. That's Wolves' victory for me.
Okay. And then on Sunday, Vasco and Young Man Social Club. Vasco should have the coach back, Gary Adams. Social Club. You know what? I'm leaning towards Social Club for this match. So I'm going to go with Social Club. Punch?
Social Club on that one too. From what I saw, Vasco still, with Gary, even with Gary back, I don't think he has the tools right now in terms of what he needs to achieve, what he wants to achieve. So I'm definitely going to Coach Club for this one. Definitely.
Mace?
Vasco's going to figure out a draw on this. Watch. The organizational piece is going to figure out a draw. Social clubs had a psychological blow. They see somebody else. They see 3 teams in the league that's better than them now.
Okay. That's a good way to look at it. And then we move to St. David's host Boulevard. Base?
Jeez, I hate calling Boulevard. Boulevard. They always do. I don't know if I got them right one time last year, but I'm there with Boulevard. I'm there.
All right. Punchy?
I'm good with Boulevard also. I go with Boulevard. I still think that St. Davis are still trying to figure out what they're going to do with the club. I don't really know who's coaching them now, but Boulevard with the talent.
I believe Aaron Luca is coaching.
Oh, okay. It's not bad. I think it's a good person in charge, but I still go with Boulevard for that one there. Just talent alone, just raw talent. Yeah.
I'm actually going to go against you guys. I'm going to go with St. David's, and I'll tell you why. I believe that because they've had a game under their belt now, they will be a little more structured than Boulevard. So I'm going to take St. David's for that. And the fact that Boulevard hasn't played yet. So, and then it is Hamilton Parish taking on Paget. Punchy? I know you're good.
Yeah. It's Hamilton Parish for the Bundy.
Yeah.
Hamilton Parish.
Macy, you want to take Paget?
Hey, I was so Paget played the other day. You remember I was saying I'm not sure if they're gonna have a team. Yeah.
Right.
And I'm still not sure that what I saw the other day is a team. Yeah.
They fielded 11 players. It consists of a team.
After seeing the players, I'm not sure that player. I saw some players that they had out there. I said, okay, he's playing football. Okay. So Hamilton Parish for sure.
That helping the community club to survive.
Okay. All right, that's the story. All right.
That's a story. That has nothing to do with results. That has nothing to do with results. Yeah, exactly. That's the story. All right. Yeah, I got it.
Well, I'm going to go Hamilton Parish as well. So it's Hamilton Parish for all 3 of us. So, yeah, we look forward to, obviously, as Maceo, when you started the show off, you said you're happy that we're able to watch football, we're able to talk football, we're able to talk about mistakes, we're able to talk about goals, we're talking scenarios. So next week it should be even better because we'll have 2 weeks under our belts. We would probably see better organization of games with teams already got 90 minutes under their belts, and you'll start to see the game pick up because there were times where even last night it went to a snail's pace because of the fact that players in the heads are saying, you know what, I need to survive. I need to, we're going to last 90 minutes and those type of things. And I think as we get into the season and the fitness comes up, as well as the coaches getting more time with the players in training, the game should be looking a lot better.
Well, I want to add this and leave the audience with this, and let's just gauge the power of the sport, right? I want to first commend the clubs for pulling it off, right? Putting on the production with the added things that they have to do to make the game happen. So first, I want to say commend the clubs for getting to that space that will gut football again. But I always go outside. Out VA last night, I went outside all the people that didn't come into the game.
Yes.
For whatever reasons, and I go over there and I just survey them and have a conversation with them. I want to see what the power of this game does to the movement of where we are within this pandemic. Because I feel that this game has a serious power. I feel that sports has a power that government don't have. Feel sports that have a power that everybody doesn't have. So let's just gauge that space as to see what the power of this game has now that it started back up. Okay.
Yeah, because there was a large crowd outside the ground here last night.
A large crowd outside the ground.
Large crowd.
And they said, "Deal, give me a safety." I said, "I can't do that."
So you see the numbers of people getting tested and probably getting injected over the next month or so going up.
Yeah. And I just want to see what this power of this game does, right? Because this game has a serious power. It does. I just came from the Belfort weekend, and we see Brian, right? We see Brian Morris as to what the power of this game and the power of sports does.
Definitely.
My add into this is my last addition to this conversation is about. I'm happy to see that it's so good for the country. What's been happening the last week? I'm going to speak about it. People getting out, being able to be out.
Yes.
They're not on the phone, so really are watching the game, and they're talking. They're having a couple of beers, they're talking, and they're talking about football. They're talking about other things. Anyway, it's like anyway. And my other most important thing is to see young coaches coming through. Again, I was happy. I have to congratulate St. George's on the coaching staff, what they're trying to achieve there. I'm glad at North Village. There's going to be some interesting games coming up now. And the point is that when we're going to go watch a game against, like the game come up Saturday night, some city against Dennytown, it's going to be interesting. And so, with Mr. Labrock, that come on the show about organization, we're talking about organization. And then we're looking at the flaws that what's happening with young players not technically sound, why this has come about. So the questions are being asked. We're talking about it, discussing, well, why is this young player not technically sound? And so, anyway, the point that I'm saying, I'm happy with having the discussions. We can talk about games. And I've been, Saturday night was it was like a walking match. But I still like the fact that you can still see something. There's some type of organization, the structure. Today's game, even on the conditions that was played under with the weather, I thought that both teams were trying to play very constructive football, organized football, and that's a good thing. So we probably, like I said to you, for the country, we're headed. Looks like we're starting heading in the direction again, the right direction, hopefully.
Let the whistles blow, let the balls bounce, and let's get sports back up and running. How's that?
And France is getting 2 pounds today.
Well, the first one was definitely one.
So we're back. France is back.
That's the only referee that's been spoken about on this show.
Oh, guys, hey, also, excuse me, fellas, before we go, I'm sorry. I spoke with the referees. Kudos to the referees, Mike, the person. I hope that the referees can get more help. I was talking to the referees that today referee the game, and they really need help. They need people to come in and help them in the system. We're talking about the young person there today at 16 years old who was an assistant referee, as a linesman they are called now,
Right.
assistant referee, did a very good job. So hopefully that the Referees Association gets some help. They reach out. They try to get more people involved with the football and helping with the refereeing of the game. And it was yeah.
Well, believe it or not, I mean, if you look at it right now, Cranston Williams, who's the chairman of referees, will be elated that we have one person already on the FIFA list, and it looks as if we'll have several more coming this year, that they get the opportunities to represent Bermuda internationally in football. So, you know, there's other avenues for people to actually become an international person within the sport. So, you know, the opportunities are there if you want to fulfill a goal and a dream of, you know, not everybody's going to be the baller, but you can still do and accomplish so many things in the sport. Natasha Trott 2 weeks ago became the first female to officiate in a CONCACAF game. You know, if she does well in the tournament that she's in now, who knows? She may be the first Bermudian to officiate in a World Cup the final. You know what I mean? So the opportunities are there. You know, so
yes,
that excites me, and I'm going to
exactly
what Cranston is doing. What Cranston is doing with the referees, you know, that's a good job. And you even heard around the field today that staunch fans that like to have a go at the referee said, "Oh, that referee made a good decision, a good call," and it was the real referee up at PHC, right?
Yes.
So you could see the movement that's happening with the referees. You know,
actually, yeah. Are you talking about the first game?
Yeah, the second game of PHC.
With Francis.
With Francis, well, everybody knows Francis. We know Francis,
yes.
right?
Yes.
But the assistant referee, the female, she called. She actually called the first penalty. She was in doing her job to the law of the Lord, and she was brave enough to do that. And you can hear the fans now that like to have a go at referees,
right?
Having a different opinion now, and a positive opinion about referees. You know, so which is good.
Yeah, Miss Butchell. Miss Butchell was the assistant referee on that side. Put the flag up real quick and then ran to where she needed to run to indicate, yes, it was a foul in the box. Yes, it was a penalty.
Yeah, and so I'm picking up these things that they're doing. And that, I mean, you just got to look at their social media, the referees. You can see they're doing work, right? You can see and that work's paying off. Time for our players, our coaches to do some work too, right?
Well, the
good thing about that is, but I'm sorry, Earl, but the good thing about that is, if you go back 3 or 4 years ago, and the referee didn't show up, referee assistant didn't show up because he's at another game, you just get somebody off the sideline now. But now you got more young people involved, so it looks like, well, we're fixing this problem. It's not completely fixed yet. It's still flawed. But anyway, I feel that we're heading in the right direction. Have more younger people involved with refereeing, as what you were saying. How far can they go? It can go very far.
Very far. That's right.
So that's also a plus. So again, you know, it's all about that rebuilding what we've lost. You know, and that's most important to our game. Having the referees very efficient, young referees that is the future of the country.
Yeah. Well, if anybody watched the first game at PHC that featured Island Rangers and Paget, they would have not known who the person was in the middle. He's actually the FIFA instructor who is running the course in Bermuda for the referees. He actually took 2 youngsters out with him today and officiated that first division match with Francis as the 4th official. So, you know, he's willing to come here and show them and actually help them in that regard. So, you know, for those type of things, I think that's the encouraging part, that if I'm willing to teach you, I'm going to also be willing to show you what you can and can't do as well. So, you know, under that, and again, with Cranston's leadership and you know, just helping and encouraging these officials is helping the game, because as Punchy noted, you know, we need them. You desperately need more officials. Yeah. All right, gentlemen, enjoy the rest of your night. See you next week Sunday. Have a good one.